Welcome back to the Nose Plays Endless Legend Inferno. We're going to start a new game today, and today we are going to be exploring the espionage mechanics in detail, as we will be playing with the Forgotten. This is not a faction that I've played with a ton, but they're a very neat faction and a welcome addition to the game. They can be a little frustrating when you play against them in the AI and in multiplayer, but we're going to go ahead and do that today. Also, something that I did, we are still playing with the progressive AI mod, but I went ahead and I bumped up the difficulty to endless to see if that feels a little bit better, or if it still feels like the early game is too heavily influenced by the AI's cheating. The way that the progressive AI mod works is it does allow the computer to cheat, but it scales back the cheating in the early game and ramps it up in the mid to late game to help them catch up to the player as the player starts to snowball. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work in theory. So we'll see if this feels a little better than the last game. It definitely felt like we ran away with it a little too easily. Let's see. We've got plenty of time here to figure out what we're doing. It looks like we do have a number of anomalies right here, so let's go ahead and switch up the map here and see what we've got. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I got 3 anomalies right here. Unfortunately, it does put us in contact with a temple ruin, but we can still build like a 4x4 triangle, 4x4x4 triangle right here pretty easily. And even a 5, we can even get out to 5 if we really, really wanted to. So, yeah, I think this is a good place to start our city. I might consider starting it in this tile instead. Just because we may get a little bit more output from this other anomaly. There's also an approval anomaly over here with food, which would be good to get to a little quicker. Unfortunately, the further we start away from it, the longer it's going to take. We also get wine, which is a welcome addition to any starting region, and a minor faction, which I can't... the Nidya minor faction, which is a flying unit. I'm not sure how well a flying unit really fits into the Forgotten's army. They already have a unit with a type of evasion. One of the biggest benefits of flying units is that they can sneak around the back of a enemy formation and take out the high priority units. You can't build a wall and block against flying units very easily with the tougher units like you can against certain other armies. But our assassins actually have the acrobat ability, which allows them to move through enemy units, and so front lines don't really mean much against most of our units anyways. So this isn't really all that ideal of a assimilation, but it is what we have. We are going to scout before we do anything else, so let's go ahead and scout to the north. I'm going to save the ruin for the hero. Alright, looks like we're starting with glass steel. I'm going to send my hero this way. So let's detach our leader to there. Make sure we select them and then finish their movement. Nothing in the ruin. And then the last assassin we'll send down this way. Yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter which one of these 2 squares we take, so just get a little more vision on our tiles here. Alright, now our settler. Let's see here. That's 13 food, 14 industry, and 12 dust. That's a pretty good amount of everything. I don't think we're going to find a better... 14, 12, 2, yeah. So this is a really good start, so I think that's where we're going to go. I don't think there's any reason not to. That's going to be a really strong start. Now, the Forgotten have some interesting mechanics. If you're not familiar with the Forgotten, they are the espionage faction in the game. Let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit and turn this off so we can see our stuff a little better. Let's take a look at our Forgotten Village real quick, just because the artwork in this game is cool. Alright, so the Forgotten have a couple of unique things going for them. Number one, they cannot see, gather, use any science at all. They don't use science. Science in the research tree is actually replaced with dust, and so we can buy our abilities from the research tree. Each ability that we buy costs more dust to purchase, but the primary way, or I guess it's the secondary way, but the better way for them to get science is through espionage, and they can actually steal science from other players at a pretty good rate. So that's one thing that we're going to try to do. Now, one of the things that I recall is that there's a quest early on where we get some predators, which is their ranged unit. If we research this before we receive the reward, we can actually equip them with different weapons. If we don't, then they count as militia or not militia, mercenary units, and mercenary units can't be upgraded. Even if we go back and get this later, I don't believe you can upgrade them. So one of the things we want to prioritize is getting this. Now it's only going to cost us 27 dust to do that. I'm tempted to go ahead and do that first, but I think actually what we're going to do is we're going to buy the mill foundry first, because the mill foundry is just a really powerful building, and we have a little bit of time before we get these because it is part of our quest. So we'll go ahead and grab that first. Being able to start with your tech on turn 1 is pretty awesome, and we could actually get the mill foundry up faster than we could get the Founders Memorial. The problem with delaying the Founders Memorial is that the Founders Memorial does provide you a nice amount of dust and some influence on your city, and that influence adds up pretty quickly. So I think we are going to leave that like that for now. I am going to move this over here to shave a turn off. We'll add a turn to this, but I don't think it's going to matter in the end. We have uncovered all of the resources in this region, so any of these gray tiles that we haven't uncovered don't have anything useful in them. If they did, we would see a little question mark up here that indicates that there's still something like a strategic or luxury that hasn't been uncovered yet. And same for villages. If you see question marks up here, that means there's more villages that haven't been uncovered. So that's good to know. This will stay up here, and when the dust cost accumulates, we can actually just click up here to buy it, which is nice. And that pretty much ends our first turn, with the possible exception of doing some edits on our units. So let's go ahead and get this done. So another interesting ability of the Forgotten units is that they dual-wield weapons. Can equip 2 one-handed weapons, minus 50% attribute bonuses on the left-handed weapon. What that means is the stats, the bonus stats, are halved for the weapon. So this particular weapon gives 9 and 2. The left-handed one is not giving 9 and 2. It's only giving 4.5 and 1 to the totals here. So I'm not sure if I can actually remove. Yeah, you can't remove the tier 1 swords. But for instance, I could add an axe. Now one thing, we have Infantry Slayer 1, on both of these weapons. Stacking Infantry Slayer 1 does not give you a better damage boost. It's 20% no matter how many copies of that you have. But one thing that we could do is give them an axe. And now we have Infantry Slayer 1 and Ranged Slayer 1. The question is, which weapon is better off in the offhand? It's probably more like that, because the offhand is the one that's going to have the penalty to the stats. I would rather have the 2 defense than half of a point or 1 point of initiative. In this case, it doesn't really matter either way. We still get the Range Slayer bonus though, so we get both Infantry and Range Slayer on a single unit, which is cool. We're not going to put the improved movement trinkets on yet. Obviously, we can't really afford that. We probably can't even afford this, to be honest. Yeah, because we spent most of our dust already, which is fine. Our hero, however, the vision trinket and the movement trinket are going to be useful for her at some point, but probably not this turn. So I don't think there's anything else we're going to do, so we're going to go ahead and end the turn. Alright, so I'm not going to read all this text, but I do need to read enough of it to understand what it is we're doing exactly. So it says, your plan to rebuild a new forgotten civilization has started badly. Of your 2 most powerful allies, Arla never made the journey, and Zima has been kidnapped by unknown forces. Locate her. A eyeless one's village in a nearby region of Hontur knows something of Zima's kidnap. Pacify the village to learn more. Usually the way you pacify the village is violence. This could be the region right here. This, you can see this looks like it ends with an R. That's not a foolproof, but I have a pretty good feeling that that's the direction we need to travel to get this quest off to a good start. Probably want to group our units back up if that's the case. I'm not going to group our hero up for reasons that I will show you momentarily. Alright, we've already found green. We will move our hero over here. Unfortunately, we won't be getting to that. Maybe. I think from this tile we can actually research or search that that temple ruin. Okay, now we're making 10 dust a turn, so we should be able to get that military unit researched pretty quickly. Having all the dust is really, really powerful. The bonus dust that we're getting for those anomaly tiles, I believe, is really good for this faction. They do good in dust-heavy regions, at least in the early game. It's pretty important for them. I don't believe there's much else we can do. We could retrofit one of these units, but not both of them. I will go ahead and retrofit one for now. If we could get some dust from searching this, that would be really good. 40 dust. Perfect. I can retrofit the other one as well. And now I don't need to delay my march into this one. Looks like we found the right region. I'm almost certain this is now Hontur. So that's good. We can move her up this way a little bit. Okay. Found the snake guys. And that was really, really timely dust search, so feel pretty good about that. Normally I would care more about uncovering these tiles, but at this point in the game, I don't believe there's any value to it. This is obviously the ocean, and there's nothing to uncover really, nothing specific. That's why we checked in the city screen earlier. So I think we're fine. This is a little worrisome being right next to green, but actually having a close neighbor is not as bad of a thing with the Forgotten in many cases, because we need neighbors to spy on and pillage. It's what we like to do. Spying and pillaging is kind of our thing. Alright, search that. Build 2 extractors to get the augmented extractor. We definitely will be building 1. So our second settlement probably should prioritize a second one, especially if it's something other than wine, because then we could be getting 2 resources from each of those relatively quickly into the game. Alright. We found an Eyeless One village, but it's not the Eyeless One village. Seeing a good number of anomalies. This might be a good region here. Extra food and industry. Yeah, lots of extra food over here. That might be a good spot if there's anything else good over here. Alright, next turn we'll be able to buy out the enemy unit, or the military unit, not enemy unit. Sword. Infantry Slayer 3 with a bunch of stats that requires glass steel. This is a really good sword. One that would be good on an infantry based military hero. Our hero is infantry based and would be able to use that sword, I believe. Yep. I'm not sure that we're going to use her as a military hero indefinitely, but there's a good chance of it, and if that is the case, there we go. Now the question is, do I want to search this, or do I want to just move here? I think we're going to just move here. We'll come back and search this with the hero, because what I'm going to do is next turn we're going to move the hero and get a little more scouting done over here, move her back, complete this fight, and then we'll grab the ruins on our way back out, or whatever, however we decide to do it. I am going to go ahead and buy this out and consider what my next research needs to be. I think we would benefit from glass steel extraction. We would also benefit from wine extraction. And then dust is obviously super important for us as well. I want to go with the dust next, and kind of snowball our dust accumulation, and then that will make both of these a little bit faster, hopefully. We can send her up this way just to get a little bit more uncovered, and then assign her to here. And the teleportation thing is pretty handy. This should be a no-brainer, no problem. We'll just auto it. And both of those units go down without much of a fight. Our hero and one of our assassins took a little bit of damage. Quest has been updated. Treachery. The Eyeless One's claim. Dissident forgotten. Hiding in ruins in the nearby region. Played a part. Find and defeat them. Show location. Oh, well, that's really close to here. We will be there shortly. We found the Dogeshi. Dogeshi are pretty interesting. If you do happen to have a faction like the Vaulters that start with mining, and you get the Dogeshi, you can really take off with luxury production pretty quickly. Any of the factions can too, but Vaulters obviously start with that ability, so they have a little bit of a head start on most of the other factions when it comes to grabbing things like wine and... Okay. Couple turns till we can buy the Empire Mint. I really do like the way our income is at the moment. Sure, we'll just move one tile. Search. Battle has begun. We've got to fight 2 ranged units. Again, this shouldn't be that difficult. They're not upgraded. We are. Our units are really, really good in close combat. Wow, we took a lot more damage there than I thought we would. That's unfortunate. But the good news is we've received a reward. Actually, let's open this one first. Okay. Treachery, the Eyeless One's claim. We did that already. The Eyeless Ones spoke true. Zima and the others' kidnapping was aided by a rebel forgotten. Commanded by an unknown leader, they claim she is held in the enemy city. Repentant, the rebels join you. Okay. So those 2 rebel units have joined us. I think these actually are new units. They have full health. But we can group them into our army and search this, and we've received 10 gold, which is actually really useful for us. We need to go to this enemy city, it looks like. Now that's going to be a little bit difficult to do. We definitely want to get back in our territory and look at the potential for upgrading our units. And do I want to go double crossbows? I mean, double crossbows is 9 and 4.5. 4.5 would be 14, 13.5 versus 12 and 5. So we actually get more attack value out of this, but less damage. I think we'll go with that. This is going to cost us money to put in place, so yeah, this will work for now. It looks like our hero leveled up. So the question is, do we want to gain defense, or do we want to just go ahead and start working towards being a better spy? And I think we're going to make this hero a spy. At least that's the tentative plan that I want to work with. This is really actually quite interesting for me. Seeing roving clans here is kind of good for us in that roving clans are unable to declare war on us directly. So as long as we grab some territory that's next to them, we can sit there and pillage and spy on them, and they can't really do anything about it. So that might have worked in our favor dramatically. We also got a nice cache of glass steel, which will allow us to upgrade her weapon at least once. We're going to need to buy the Empire Mint. 58. So I guess the question is, do we switch to the Empire Mint, or do I go ahead and build my first borough district? I think we want to build the borough district. And it looks like it's going to be about the same no matter where we put it. Unfortunately, only one of these tiles gives us food. Or, I mean, dust. And it's not the direction that I really want to build into. Let's just go with that. And I'll move these guys over to food for the time being. I'm not going to buy this out because I want to upgrade our units. That being said, I think we're going to head this direction first and uncover some more of the map, and then we'll move into our territory to retrofit before we come over here and try to deal with these guys. We need to let our units heal up quite a bit too. We took a lot more damage than I anticipated. So we're going to have to be careful. Alright. Not a lot we can do. One nice thing is upgrading her weapon is only going to cost glass steel. What did we need to do? Was that a quest, or wasn't that just a reward? Was that a two-handed sword? It is a two-handed sword. So that's my mistake. I guess that makes sense because it is an Infantry Slayer 3 weapon. Okay, well, we won't be able to build this one after all. That's unfortunate. Range Slayer, Infantry Slayer, or Infantry Slayer 2. Wait a second, she has... We need to complete the next part of the quest to get the glass steel. That wasn't a reward, that was the next reward. Okay. So she can use that sword. We can retrofit our 2 ranged units, which I think we should go ahead and do. Unfortunately, it's going to take a number of turns for us to be able to do much else. We could also start building our settler and look to settle over here like I'd planned. This region does have titanium currently. We have not seen a luxury resource in either of these 2 regions, but that's kind of the secondary thing that I was looking to maybe find, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Oh, you can't move up that. That is a cliff. Well, that was silly. Our population has grown. That's good for us. They do have some military units heading down this way, possibly to scout and possibly to settle. One of the nice things is that they cannot see our units, so we are invisible to anything that is not directly next to us, with a few exceptions. Let's double check what our quest actually wants us to do, because they may just want us to infiltrate. Yeah, infiltrate and reach level 3. Okay, well we can do that right now, so let's go ahead and infiltrate with her, and then let's just try and be safe and search for as many things as we can. Okay. So, infiltration, let's talk briefly about how this works. If you have vision of an enemy city, you have the ability to pay influence to infiltrate any of your heroes into that city. That city has a particular rating here. This rating will basically dictate how risky it is for a spy to be in that city and perform actions. And there are a couple of things that happen. So as long as the spy is there, the enemy isn't notified necessarily that they have a spy in their city. But anytime they might suspect it, they can do what's called a roundup, which takes a bunch of turns of industry production. And if you don't remove your hero from the city by the end of the roundup, you will get a roll, basically, a chance roll, dice roll, whatever you want to call it. And if it is bad, then you lose potentially 50% of your health, or you could actually get captured. The risk is dependent on the city's security level, and there are buildings and other factors that increase the security of cities. So the more secure a city is, the more likely that you'll get caught doing an action. The other way to get caught is when you perform an action, you have to make a dice roll, and most cities will be notified that there is a spy somewhere, but they won't necessarily tell you where unless you get caught or you get seen. Unfortunately, because it's a percent hit to your health, having extra gear doesn't really help you survive longer in a city, doesn't really make you more effective as a spy. So putting lots of gear on your spies is pretty moot. There is one or two pieces of equipment that will influence a hero's ability to stay infiltrated, but we don't currently have any of them. So we do need this, but not yet. I'm gonna wait until this is almost built before we do anything else with that. And we're just gonna continue to scout around our territory. We do need to consider getting a settler built very soon. There is a ruin here. Within 5 turns, search the unspoiled ruins illuminated by the rays of dust. Okay. I don't think we can get there in 5 turns. We might be able to get there. No, there's really no way. Even if we moved here and then immediately equipped with +1 movement trinkets, that's gonna give us one, maybe. We get 1 extra unit of movement there and 1 extra unit of movement there. We might just barely be able to do this, but only if we can get the trinket, movement trinket on somebody. So we'll give it a try. I don't have much else that I can get done right now. We are going to go ahead and queue up a settler as our next piece of production, and as soon as we start building the settler, we're going to move all of these over to industry, because your food is set to 0 during settler production. Okay, so we're in the middle of a dust eclipse. That's kind of good and kind of bad for us. The good news is we're going to get a lot of dust for this. The bad news is we're not really close to a bunch of ruins. What conflux is this? Reduction to unit upkeep Health regen. If this was the movement one, I would probably go for it, but it's not, so we're going to continue with the plan that we had. There's not a whole lot else I can get done this turn. One thing that we did not look at is what our bonuses are. So, during eclipses, infiltrated forgotten spies gain the dust opportunist infiltration action. Dust blizzards blow over Araga. Strange dust activity on temple ruins. Dust confluxes emanate from the land, granting XP and temporary boost to armies collecting them. Okay. One thing that we could be doing right now is running our gold booster and getting our approval up. I'm going to wait until we finish the boroughs, because it's going to be affecting a larger amount of things. We'll have larger quantities of industry, food, and dust for it to affect. And I want the maximum amount of effect in the early game here. So that's why we're waiting on that. There's no need to buy this out early. And there's nothing we can do with that just yet. So yeah. We'll just end the turn again. Oh, I wanted to check the... So we're supposed to gain dust opportunist. Steals a flat amount plus a small percentage of the infiltrated empire's dust. Okay. So at some point we'll be able to do this. I'm not sure how valuable that is to us, honestly. Dust is a really important resource for us, but getting a bunch of dust from your spy, maybe it's good. Unfortunately, that was a settler that headed down that way. They settled in a really crappy spot, too. It's going to be hard to build this city into anything useful with boroughs. That's unfortunate. So we definitely want to get our heroes over here anyways and scout the rest of these two regions. There is wine in the region directly above us, but I don't see a really good spot for settling just yet. One thing we could do is split off one of our characters to head up this way on the next turn. Or on this turn, actually. We only need one person to make it to this ruin. Let's go ahead and keep the healthier ones together. Let's split off this guy. And let's see here. Yeah, he's not... I'm not going to be able to get there because this was blocked. So now getting here... I think we've kind of messed up. I don't think there's a good way to do this anymore. Even with the movement trinket. Because it was letting us maybe like get into this region, but that region is blocked. That being said, maybe we just keep everybody together and move up this way. I don't think that the item that we would be getting would be that exciting anyways. But we definitely want to probably grab this region, because if we don't, they're going to grab it very likely, and we don't have pressure from other players on these regions that we know of just yet. This spot looks like it might be okay. With 3 anomalies, but it is going to lose out, and it is another situation where we're not going to be able to expand anywhere useful. Empire plans coming up in 6 turns. We've reached level 2. I think we need to wait. It doesn't tell us how much dust it's going to steal either, does it? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Um, let's look at our quest again. Level 3 infiltration. I guess we'll try to get to level 3 infiltration, and if we do before the end of the dust eclipse, we'll pop it on that one and take her out. Or maybe just leave her in. Our dust is doing really well. Because it's doing so well, one thing that we definitely want to consider grabbing is the mercenary market, and we might even want to grab that before the Empire Mint at this point. But we are going to need something to build besides an army. But it's really early in the game and we have a lot of dust. We could definitely buy a hero very quickly. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's grab the mercenary market, and let's take a look at which heroes are available. Dust efficiency 2, army health boost 2, expansion support. Food boost, army health boost, fast learner. What does fast learner do again? I think it just adds XP, right? Yeah, extra XP per turn. He is an infantry hero, so he could also use the sword. I guess he's a support hero. Okay. Let's queue that back up, and then we're also going to need that and that at some point. Yeah, this is really frustrating because there's really no good spot to settle over here on this side of the map. So that means we got to walk all the way to the other end of this mountain range, which is going to take forever. I'm not digging our prospects right now. I certainly don't feel like we're in a bad place, but this isn't a great start either at this point. Alright, the dust eclipse is already over. That was a short one. Let's see if there's any better spots up here. And I missed out the opportunity to search that. That's unfortunate. Somebody's already in Era 2. We've been building a settler with our people on food for a while. That sucks. We should have moved that over last turn, I think. A couple more turns and we'll be... What are they doing? They've already got 2 dervishes and they're building another settler. Yeah, we've got to get our units over here and try and stop them from settling this region. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Wow. This region is garbage. I suppose there are ways you can make it slightly better. Yeah, we're just gonna give up on this and go. So there's a couple things I can do with my settler in 2 turns, hopefully. One would be to speed up our potential resources. Luxury resources by building my city directly onto this wine deposit, which if we immediately research the extraction technology or pay for it in our case, we would start collecting wine immediately, which has some value. It also unlocks the ability to get this one up and running and get the double wine extraction and be able to keep wine running on all of our cities for a very long time. That has some appeal to me. The other thing we could do is we can move over here. The problem with moving over here is, how do you build a city from here? You're going to get two approval bonuses, which is good, but you can't build anywhere. Like, I can kind of build a stick to there, but I lose all my exploitation tiles. You cannot build a cargo dock on a lake anymore, so I can't build a stick in here and keep those tiles. It's pretty much just going to be a one tile city with a ton of approval. And again, then the wine isn't really doing any use because you're not making a bigger city. There is an advantage of being over here in that we can exploit these lake tiles, and there are research techs that make them more valuable, but there's literally nowhere in this region you can build a good city. There's too many lakes and too many mountains. So it's either here or here. I'm leaning more towards here just because at least we get extra points of stuff on the anomalies, since we're not really going to be able to build this city any larger. But it sucks that we're missing out on one exploitation tile. So maybe it's not really any better than just building it here. And at least over here I can expand it a little bit. And take advantage of these lake tiles. That might be what we end up doing. Yeah, we knew we were going to fail that. This is good if I'm not mistaken. Plus 50% seniority bonus on hero. That basically makes her gain the infiltration stuff faster. So whenever we perform an action, the next time we start to do research or start to work on a city, it goes a little faster. We could steal a technology right now, but we want to get to 3 to finish our quest, so we're going to do that first. Okay, we have a bunch of heroes. We're going to overtake the cost of these heroes pretty soon. Yeah, a bunch of new ones and a few old ones. Dust efficiency 2, dust boost 1, science boost 3 doesn't help us at all. Influence efficiency 2. Food boost 3 is not bad. I do like the Draken with the food boost 3. He's kind of a special character that you get on one of the free DLC packs or DLC packs, I can't remember. Industry boost 2 on Strikes Far. That's also something that's very appealing. And food boost 3. Okay, so we've definitely got our man. He will be a governor of our home city. We need 287. We'll get that in 2 turns. And he's an exclusive, which means nobody else can buy him but us for 15 turns, so that's good. So in a couple turns we'll be able to buy that hero. That's going to be a big boost to our city. 2 turns away from our settler. And a couple turns away from... Gosh darn it. Alright, we should have activated this earlier. I'm going to go ahead and activate it now. Yeah, I'm missing out on a few things that I should have done. I said I was going to do them and then forgot to do them. So that's just bad play on my part. He's already got those things pacified down there. We could start pillaging his stuff at some point. And that would be fun for us. There's not much else I can do right this second. Check the cost of these heroes again. Yeah, we gotta get one more turn. So you'll see every turn these go up by some percentage. So you have to outpace them with your income, which is sometimes difficult. This will be the last turn that we're building a settler. And then we're gonna want to move stuff around. I am going to go ahead and build another army. Looks like we have a fight. That's actually kind of scary, especially without our hero. I think we're just going to retreat from this fight. And try to uncover this tile. I don't want to fight those guys if we don't have to. I can get here in 1, 2, 3 turns, so there's really no need. Let's grab those pearls at least. That'll slow us down just a little bit. So we'll be here on turn 19, here on turn 20, here on turn 21. Go ahead and buy him out. Assign him to the city. He is kitted out with reasonable gear to start with. I don't think there's anything we need to really change about him at the moment. On a food boost is the +6 food per level, and industry boost is +4 industry per level. So as we get this guy leveled up, getting him really early is really important. But having a garrison full of units is also going to be important because that's going to allow him to level up much more quickly. If he can level up quickly, he can become really potent at adding a bunch of resources to our city. So that's really what we want right now. We also need an army here to take out any roaming armies that the Nydia produce, and probably to just wipe them out. We can also send it off to pillage, but I don't want to do that until we have a garrison full of troops. It's going to be a couple turns before we can get the Empirement up anyways. Our dust situation is still pretty good. One thing I could do is I could potentially settle this a turn faster if I put the movement trinket on this unit. Is it worth getting it done 1 turn faster? The answer is probably not. Okay, found some pearls. We're going to try to bring these units back around, grab this, and then hopefully look at re-equipping them with better gear. We are 1 turn away from our Empire plan. This is maybe a little late to worry about the Empire plan, but let's let's see. We could potentially do something like that. This actually has value too. 20% cost reduction on research is basically just means that we pay less dust. I have a feeling that this is probably the way to go. I don't believe an extra 3 per person on city is a greater reduction to the cost than 20% of the dust cost itself. We're getting 3 per turn, so we're going to be exactly at 40 next turn. So this is fine. We're just going to leave it like it is. We should be able to get the Empire plan we want. There's no way to get one better than that anyways. And I don't know that I would have gone out of my way to get one, even if we could. That's kind of annoying. Move to here. Okay, 5 glass steel. Quest update. Now you know where the ruins of Isidel, Zima, and the others are. To free them, search the indicated unspoiled ruins. Okay. So we need to get an army over to here. We also are now able to steal the technology, which I think we should totally do. And what do we want to steal? Imperial coinage. That is a tier 2 technology that unlocks the marketplace. Sewer systems, not all that useful. Alchemist furnace is definitely useful, as is open pit mine. Okay, so because this is a tier 2, it costs more. What I'm going to do, I don't have the dust to buy this out first. I think it's worth doing this one. Oh. Yeah, we're going to have to wait a turn, because we want to do this first. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't click that button earlier. Let's get this locked in. Now we can't do that for a turn, or 2, or 3. If I do that, I gotta do this to get it next turn. Really? Ugh. Alright. What are these guys? Oh, okay. Alright. We're in a good place to stop here in a minute, but I do want to do one more turn. What I've noticed is when I end on this turn, it always screws up my Empire plan. So we always want to get past turns that have an Empire plan on them when we save our videos. Also, if you reach the end of the video and you're interested in more content, I do apologize. Last week I had some technical difficulties as well as some logistical difficulties in recording. I had to work last Tuesday, which isn't normally the case, and that is why there was no Total War Tuesday. But there will be a Total War Tuesday tomorrow, and I may even try to do 2 or do an extra long one to make up for the fact that I missed last week. I did try to record it when I got off of work, and I had some issues recording. I finally got them straightened out and managed to get some recordings done of some XCOM content. I may be continuing that content. Doesn't seem like a lot of people are interested in watching it. It is an older game, and it's one that I just enjoy playing, so I may put a little bit more of that out. I have thought about maybe testing out some of the mods that I haven't tried on that. But tomorrow will be a Total War Tuesday, and hopefully, if I have the time and energy, I'll try to get 2 videos out to make up for last week. But let's go ahead and finish up one more turn in here, and we'll continue this series as well. Maybe not tomorrow, but definitely into the future. Alright, we're about to drop a city. And I am going to put it directly on this. They'll probably attack me, which is whatever. We don't have enough pearls for the altar, but we will be collecting a few shortly. And we're going to get another hero when we search this ruin, so that's an important thing to keep in mind. I've got one assassin on the way, that's good. I have 9 influence now, so I can move these back over here. And we can go ahead and do this steel technology now. Ooh, so they actually learned something else in the interim. Management sciences is a pretty interesting technology for us. The research cost is 79. It's a tier 2 tech that we're definitely interested in on some level. The problem is we do not have titanium, but we have some ways of getting titanium. And we'll maybe demonstrate those. So maybe this is the way to go. I like this idea. This is going to force me to do something that I might have otherwise skipped doing. We're going to go ahead and take management science, and then we're going to use our army that we're building to pillage the enemy and try to get some titanium from their extractors, and then we can build some of these buildings. So let's go and do this, but before we do this, I think it's wise if we first buy the Empire Mint and then do this. You can see the cost went up because each time you get one, the cost will go up. So it's always better to buy them before you steal them, because you get a little bit of a discount on the one that you're buying. If I were to steal this and then buy the Empire Mint would have actually cost me more dust to grab. So always buy before you steal if you can. So waiting that turn actually helped us out a little bit. Our spy was partially wounded, so this is now they know that they have a spy in this city. We can take our spy out and they are not notified whether the spy has left or not. And we may end up doing that and assigning her to the army once more, where she can level up, get some experience and whatnot. Being able to jump heroes around with the reduced lockdown time is pretty useful. Do I want to do that yet? Let's go ahead and move these guys. Yeah, there's a bunch of pearls over here. Heroes get experience for collecting pearls. And we might even be able to take this village out with the garrison from this one in the fight. So maybe we move here, fight this village. Even though we're injured, we probably win that fight if we're careful. And then we can pick up these, finish scouting this territory, and set ourselves up for the next turn. I think that's a good plan. Now, the question is, do I just go ahead and move her out now? I think I do. We are going to lose our sight of what's going on in this region for a little while, but that's fine. This way I won't forget to do it. We also want to drop our city at some point. I just want to make sure we don't have any boosters we can pop. You always want to check boosters before you drop a city, as well as make sure you've set any empire plans, because the cost of those do go up. One thing that would be nice is if the costs of those things were set for the turn at the beginning of the turn, and that way if you accidentally did them in the wrong order, it wouldn't matter. It's kind of just a quality of life thing that you have to be really diligent to remember which order to do things in, or it can have a pretty big impact on you. I really hope in the future that maybe they change that, but I don't think that's going to happen. 8 12 and 2. Man, that's not very good. The 2 dust is really what holds this back. 8 food's fine. 12 industry's good. But only 2 dust really sucks. We can definitely fix that with a few burrows, and having wine boosters is going to help offset the negative penalties for burrows. So we're going to go ahead and do it. And then we need to get open pit mine. So this is the next one that we really want to grab. It's going to cost us 110 dust, and that's going to take a few turns unless we complete some quests or get some other things going. We do have haunts now. Haunts don't really help us all that much. They're a decent military unit. They're a terrible bonus unit for us because they provide science, which does nothing for us. Yeah. So that kind of sucks. Research management is not something we can get right away, but I can go ahead and queue up the Empire Mint, and I might even move it up in the queue just because we need to collect dust faster in order to get some of this other stuff going. So I think that's where we're going to end it for today. Hope you're enjoying the video so far, and we are going to continue this series using the progressive AI mod to kind of see how that compares to some of the other AI mods out there. So far, I feel like they've had a little bit of an advantage on us, and I don't know if that's just because we're the Forgotten, and the Forgotten kind of have a weird start. It doesn't quite feel as bad as Endless, but they did grab that territory very quickly, and somebody also hit tier 2 pretty early, way earlier than I think is reasonable without cheating really badly. So maybe the ideal setting is one step down from Endless, but we'll just have to see how it feels. Play a few more of these and see where we're at. So we're going to wrap this one up. This has been the Noseplays. I hope you guys are having a great day, and tomorrow Total War 2 stays. See you then.